report. Well, our final speaker is Jill Hall, member for Shortland. I'm going to introduce you a little blurb. Before entering politics, Jill worked as a rehabilitation counsellor with CRS Australia. It was for her a rewarding and fulfilling career. She worked with people living with disability or mental illness, and people who had been injured in motor vehicle or workplace accidents, helping them back into work and to live independently in the community. Jill obtained a Bachelor of Arts at the University of Newcastle, and prior to entering the federal arena, Jill was extensively involved in local and state politics. She served as a councillor on the late Macquarie City Council, 1991 to 95, and was deputy mayor from 93 to 94. I must have Lush in my mind, sorry. 20, no, please. I've got 3 more paragraphs.
30 seconds.
You should have just sat down and got on with it. On the 25th of March 1995, Jill was elected as the state member for Swansea. She resigned on the 1st of September 98 to contest the federal seat of Shortland. Jill won the seat and has been the federal member for Shortland ever since. 2 more paragraphs. Jill has been a member of the Labor Party for 30 years and believes that everyone deserves to be treated fairly, no matter where they live or how much they earn. 1 more paragraph, Jill. Jill is an active member of the Joint Standing Committee of Federal Parliament on the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Let's welcome Jill.
What an introduction. Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. And I started off with a nice ordered little list of what I was going to talk about. As everybody's spoken, my little list has gone all over the place, and there's so much scribble on it, I doubt if I'll be able to read it. Now, the NDIS is life-changing, community-changing, focus-changing approach to disability. For too long, people with disabilities have been treated as second-rate citizens. Now, the NDIS isn't perfect. The rollout hasn't been perfect. There are issues that will arise each and every day, but it's a step forward. It is a big step forward. And if I was given the choice of having the NDIS or not having the NDIS, there is no way, absolutely no way, I would move away from where we are today. And with people like Susie, who I know is totally committed to seeing that the NDIS is successful in this area, to people like Cess and to people like James. And I know that it will be successful. And with the Stephens of the world, they're watching to make sure that it does work. I think that we've got a really good mix. Now, I've been to every trial site in Australia, and each trial site's different. Each approaches the NDIS in a different way. Here, it's rolled out according to local government areas. In Victoria, it's at Geelong, and it's a staged rollout there too. Tasmania. Now, these wonderful, wonderful ladies that we've had here today aren't eligible for the NDIS yet in Tasmania because it's based on age and going up to when young people leave school. And in Tasmania, It's different yet again, and I'd have to say, out of all the trial sites I went to, it was the most difficult committee hearings we had, and that was in South Australia, where it's children under 5, and there's a number of issues that become apparent there. But the thing is that these issues are becoming apparent, and wherever there's change, you're going to have problems. You're going to be issues that are identified, and as well as problems, you're going to find out that there's some fantastic things that you didn't think you could do in different ways. Now, there are differences between the states, and that's probably one of the things that I find the most difficult to get around as a member of the committee. There's heads of agreement that were signed between the Commonwealth and the states, and in line with that, there's different approaches to the funding of things like Tier 3, which is the level that, I shouldn't use this is jargon, isn't it? It relates to the level of disability, and there's differences in different states. And I'm hoping that over time that those differences will be addressed, and that some of the problems that might come around block funding, because we're hearing from a lot of areas that maybe there's still a need for some level of block funding, but and I emphasise this, that block funding only links into the individual need, because this is a person-centred scheme, this is a person-centred program, and it's all about the person. So you can be critical of some aspects of it, but there is no way, absolutely no way, I'd want to walk away from this person-centred approach. And this arose out of the NDIS. Do you all remember the Every Australian Serves Better? Is it?
Every Australian counts.
Every Australian counts. I've written it. I wrote that on the other side. Every Australian counts. And locally, I held in my area, a number of community consultations, both in the Lake Macquarie area and in the Central Coast area, and encouraged people to come along, because I believe that for any program, and the government of the day and the government now is committed to the fact that for this to be successful, it's got to take people with you. And as Susie rightly said, this is bipartisan. Now, I sit on that committee with people that I can disagree with vehemently about so many different things. But when it comes to making the NDIS work, people from all sides are committed to it. We've got government members, Liberal and National Party. We've got the Greens and we've got Labor. And everyone on that committee wants to make it work. And we've heard some of the issues that you've raised, Stephen, about people with intellectual disabilities. And that's another thing that as a committee we're getting our mind around. We know that people with intellectual disabilities have different capacities, and we had people in to talk to our committee about, it's probably 3 weeks ago now, and along with them people from coming in and talking to us about psychiatric illness, mental illness, and as well as that, the issue of housing, and so many different issues are important and haven't all been 100% resolved. But the one thing, and the absolute one thing that's at the core of the NDIS, and the thing that we all support, is it's about the person. And it's about time that people with disabilities were viewed in the same way as every other person in Australia is. It's about that person being able to enjoy the same choices, the same opportunities at different levels that other Australians can. An ordinary life, as Susie said, it's all about an ordinary life, being able to have an expectation that your life will be good and that you can enjoy it. I'm happy to answer any questions that come up during the Yes, I've spoken too long too, haven't I?
You've still got a couple of minutes.
I still got a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the trouble with politicians, and particularly when I get on my hobby horse about something I'm so passionate about as the NDIS. The other thing that I wanted to reiterate the importance of when you go in to have a plan prepared, that you actually do take that time to prepare. Make sure that you know what you want and don't just go in there and say, oh, well, yes, I'm here to prepare my plan. It's something that you've got to put a lot of effort into, a lot of thought into, and be prepared for that when you go in. And plans are flexible. The plan that you make on day one can be changed, will be changed. It won't be the same in 2 years' time. People's needs change, and so will your plan change. And don't feel that if you develop the plan this week, that you're going to be stuck with for your life. Because, hey, when we make decisions in our lives, all of us, we know that they can change. And that's what the NDIS is about. And we want to make sure that people do have their chance to develop their hopes, their goals, their aspirations. And I think that the NDIS fits in very, very nicely with the glassshade communities. That idea of partnerships, communities, about relationships, because the NDIS is actually all about relationships, all about partnerships, and including family, including friends, including all those people that are important to a person that has a disability. And I'll finish by saying, this must succeed. This must be rolled out according to the time frames. This is so important for the lives of so many people in Australia, people living with a disability and people living, caring, supporting a person with a disability. So thank you very, very much for inviting me here today.
Thank you.